Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking to my practitioner, asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. In this particular case today, it's actually going to be about a dream that Lorrayne herself had. When I refer to me, I'm referring to myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from a 25th dimension. As mentioned, the topic of today's video will be this particular dream that Lorrayne told me about, and I had an instant feeling that it was relevant to what's going on behind the scenes, because I have dreams about what's going on behind the scenes every night. So by now I recognize them. So I urged her to write down the dream and to basically ask it during our session. And I'm glad I did, because the answer from the 25th is very compelling, in my opinion. It definitely explains what we're all dealing with in different guises. It shows up in different ways for each one of us, but we're all pretty much dealing with the same energy, not the energy that's coming from the outside. This is not external to us, but is what we are doing here at this time. So each one of us is working on these same topics. So I wanted to share this with you. Before I move forward, as always, I want to thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. It really makes a difference to me, and I really appreciate it. It makes me so happy to see your comments below the video. So you have no idea. So I hope you keep those coming. All right. So here's a dream. So this is Lorrayne. So Lorrayne, had a dream. The sensation is very confused, well, more puzzled, with a desire to fix it because none of it made any sense. Beige plane of existence, me as myself participating in the dream. Normally I'm observing. Woman with coffee machine that appears to be possessed, malfunctioning, and seems to have a mouth. She asks me to help her figure out what is happening. I look around into the plane of existence, and the general feeling is that there is something very off. The view widens, and there are three men driving golf balls into nothingness at the edge of the space. As I watch them and try to figure out what is going on, they all fell backwards as if they're dead. I run over to them to see if I can help and grab one of them, the one closest to me, and move to another area towards the middle of this place. I have this youngish male that appears somewhat gesture-like, that is chattering and taunting, saying things like, "What are you going to do?" And then I sense this image in my mind that is very demonic, and it is like it is source, but a child version having a temper tantrum. I see this image in my mind, and it is like it wants to destroy. I keep saying to it, "We are all one. You and I are one. All of us here are one," over and over. I see an image of the source being as an energy ball splitting into two. The sense is that this is a partner. There is a need for another to be able to create, make manifest. But every time there is a creation, the energy collapses, and there is the source energy being, and the other it created. The creations keep dissolving. It just keeps going on like this, and I keep saying, "We are all one." The energy is still very demonic, very off, which is not at all like me or my normal focus. At some point, the man that I have been driving around with me gained some consciousness, but he is also malfunctioning. The whole plane of existence just seems very warped. Then I wake up feeling like I could not fix the problems there. Please advise, analyze, make comments. Me. So they're saying you cannot save it, and they're saying there is nothing to save. So what your higher self is showing you is this battle that you're going through, very similar to what Carolyn actually has been going through. And Carolyn, for those of you who may just be tuning in to this session, is another one of my practitioners. I actually have two practitioners of choice who are Lorrayne and Carolyn. Lorrayne does BQH, and Carolyn is a qhht practitioner. Carolyn is actually one of the 12,000, and she has helped me connect with the 25th the very first time. I had my very first hypnosis session, qhht hypnosis session with her. So let's continue here. So what you're going through is very similar to what Carolyn actually has been going through, where you have come here with a purpose. Again, we've explained what we mean by purpose. There is no other purpose but having fun. However, you set yourself up with this mission where you're on the side of the light. This is what you do. You ground, you keep everything stable. Remember, we talked about this. You are the rock. You keep everything stable. And yet nothing was stable in this dream, because the fact is, this is finished. There is nothing that you can do. You can drag around as many bodies as you wish, but you cannot make them function again. This is over. And what you're fighting, what you are resisting, and we've spoken about resistance, this is not just you. Again, you being as open and aware as you are, you remember your dreams. And of course, your higher self is showing you everything that's going on. So this other, this source, this childish source that almost seems demonic. And what do you mean by demonic? Other than you, different from you, negative or evil or dark, really, is simply, it wasn't referring to obviously any demons or anything, any part of source that would show up that way. Even though we have said source is everything, we are everything. It's about you resisting. It's your resistance. You're resisting the fact that this is happening. You're saying, why? Why is this happening? Why? We are one. There's no need for this. Now, there is an undercurrent here because we didn't want to do this. Keep in mind, remember that we did not want to do this takedown. However, the takedown is happening, and the takedown is necessary at this point because we've already decided we're moving elsewhere and we're going to be much happier there. And this dream is simply showing you where you are, all the balls in the air that you are juggling. So you are juggling what you have set yourself to do in this lifetime here with the fact that now we're actually having the takedown and moving on. So you don't have to do this anymore. And the reason we say this is exactly what Carolyn has been going through is because she set herself up to be a healer here in many ways, like yourself. She's a nurse, but she's really more than a nurse. She's a healer. And why is that? These things don't happen by chance. It's because she's been carrying, the way we say it here, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. She's seeing things, for example, that Clea could never handle seeing. And when, for example, she had her first plant medicine experience, the entire time she was feeling like she was dying. She actually saw herself die 3 times, which is very similar to what you've experienced in this dream. It is a death. Not death in the sense of how we think of death here, but death is in an ending. And the reason what she has done is she's had trouble finding her footing now that she no longer has the same function she had before. Because on the team of the light, we do have functions. So in her case, she's one of the 12,000. We're actually waiting for her. The 12,000, we're waiting for her. And for the last few stragglers like her, they were laughing, will set themselves up to have these very difficult jobs to be done, to let them go. So we could move into the next phase. And this happened several months ago. And she's still a little bit struggling with this, but she's very much in a much better place than she used to be. And what is happening is that you are also letting go, as we all are. And you are reviewing the things you've been doing here, which is you've helped everybody. You're trying to help this lady with a possessed coffee machine. They were laughing. Are you an electrician? Are you a coffee machine repairman? It doesn't matter what it shows up as. You help. This is what you do. This was to represent the fact that you help. Somebody could have shown up with a bicycle and said, oh, this bicycle is doing crazy things. You would have said, hey, let me see if I can help you with that. So this is showing you that you are still fighting, which your higher self wants to bring to your attention. Again, the question is why? Why is it bringing it to your attention? Of course, you know the answer. I mean, it's time to let go, which is easier said than done. We understand. We are human. We keep saying this. We are human. We know things at an intellectual level that we're not capable of handling emotionally all at once. But that's why your higher self is bringing this up to you, because it wants you at a conscious level to come to terms, to realize what you are doing below the surface, behind the scenes, so that you can address it, because we are moving on. And you know you do want to move on, but somehow we are all doing this. Somehow we're still attached to this place, and we see it crumbling around us because we know exactly what's going on, despite the fact that we're trying to keep this shell of an appearance going. And we are having trouble with it because emotionally, this is very, very difficult. We spoke about it in the last session in the initial message we gave you when we showed Clea that she was walking on new earth and being in a very serene environment. And yet she was very melancholic because she was thinking about how hard these last few months have been for us here. It will continue to be until we leave. Because emotionally, we know. Well, we know everything that's going on below the surface. We don't want to know. We're doing everything we can because we don't want to know. Meanwhile, it's becoming more and more obvious, even from a 3D perspective, that everything is crumbling right in front of our eyes. So yes, we are very excited about the recall of this thing. But what does that entail? Everything is falling apart. Everything is collapsing. We might want to prop up some things a little bit longer, but we see it. We see it collapse. It's collapsing right in front of our eyes. We say it again. We don't want to wrap our minds around this. It is not a joke to see, I can't say the name, but it's the actor acting as president of the United States right now. So it is not a joke to see this actor 2 years ago telling us we will have these things forever. Now say that the pandemic is over. It is not a joke. We're all taking it in stride. We tend to have amnesia. We want to forget where we were emotionally, what we were witnessing 2 years ago. But you go back to 2 years ago, you put yourself back there, you would have never in a million years guessed that today, 2 years later, we would be here. Never. This is very hard. We are juggling all these balls in the air. It's very hard from an emotional perspective to keep up with all of this. So guess what? Now it's coming up in dreams. There are people who still don't want to remember their dreams because they can't handle it. They don't want to know. They just want to live day by day and see what comes up. But that's not the work you're doing. Your higher self is trying to have you look at these things and say, how do you actually feel emotionally? What is going on? You need to process this at a conscious level. And the reason we're doing it at a conscious level now is because guess what? We're going to be conscious on your earth. We're going to know all the stuff that's going on. So this is your higher self telling you, let's get a head start on this work. Lorrayne, thank you. I'm ready to let go. So I hope this was interesting for you, that you enjoyed this video. I truly appreciated this answer. It reminds me of a lot of things that, again, they mentioned we all want to forget. I definitely have done my fair bit of resisting this information, but it is time for us to embrace that we are in charge, we are collapsing the system, and we are moving on. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. As always, take care. Bye-bye.